promovendo conhecimento e conteúdo pensado para o futuro de atividade de compras. Desde 2017, promovemos conteúdo atual e relevante com profissionais que são referência em suas atividades, conectando os diferentes stakeholders de compras e supply chain através dos preceitos do Fair Trade. Contamos com o apoio de marcas relevantes como Level Group, Atlas Renewable, Tendências, Atier Von Ra, Avipan, OnFly, Gimava e muitos outros. Nosso propósito é disseminar as principais tendências do setor para os profissionais de compras e supply chain, tornando-os protagonistas em suas ações e para prover transformação positiva do ambiente de negócios. Com parcerias estratégicas, levamos conhecimento através de influenciadores com foco em conteúdo especializado relacionado à área de procurement. Organizamos eventos, produtos digitais, palestras e benchmarks, realizando uma curadoria especializada para a produção e publicação de conteúdos para um público qualificado. Além disso, realizamos anualmente a principal pesquisa sobre o setor de compras, com insights exclusivos. Atualmente, contamos com mais de 20 mil seguidores nas redes sociais, mais de 40 mil profissionais conectados semanalmente e mais de 10 mil acessos mensais ao nosso portal de conteúdo, o Procurement Digital. Nossos valores estão ancorados nos 10 princípios do Fair Trade e contemplam a diversidade e inclusão, sustentabilidade, ética e transparência e negócios justos. Junte-se a nós e potencialize sua perspectiva e sua rede de relacionamentos em compras e supply chain. Acesse nosso portal, siga-nos nas redes sociais e fique por dentro das últimas tendências e melhores práticas do setor. Procurement Club, Think Tank of Procurement.
thinking is to define a problem. We see a problem in the world, in the science, and everywhere, and then we create a hypothesis to prove. We design an experiment, and we see what others researchers around the world are doing, what those and when we check what they did already. So we review, we learn from the others' results. Then we run our experiments, we collect evidence, and after we collect IT, so this is what we, I think, this is my opinion.
Yeah, I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll also comment on that. One of the most important things that you said that I keyed in on, Leslie, was culture. And that, for me, because I've been advising a lot of companies on their AI strategy, and what they haven't solved is the culture in the organization for experimentation, for trying something, for building a pilot, for learning. So it's difficult in a way. Sometimes organizations have to find ways to change their culture in order to be adaptive. I also study in a whole area of adaptability, and it goes back, thousands and thousands of years, about humans being adaptable. Now, I'm going to probably talk a little bit about that in September, where I'm talking about the adaptability of humans. Once we are able to get AI, and the interesting thing is AI is changing daily. So there's nothing sort of set in stone saying this is the way AI is. We're actually constantly developing new ways, new technologies, new ways of interfacing with it. But what doesn't change is the culture of the organization. So I think once that gets into alignment and we actually understand and strengths and weaknesses of people within our organization, that's a great first step. So I think that's got a lot more to do with AI strategy for the future, is building and understanding the organization that you have. And the only way to do that is there's multiple blueprints. You have to do it for each individual company. It has to be personalized within that organization. But the nice thing is, once you learn how to assess your colleagues, what kind of personalities they have, how it will fit, how that will fit the design of implementation of innovation, that's going to be key to then experimenting with AI, because the conditions are created in order for AI development. I have some companies that there's no way AI will work within their organization, just because of the structures that they've set up are barriers to innovation and AI. So we have to sort of break some of those barriers first. And you're going to learn about that when you come in September.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Kelly and Osili, hearing what you just said, would it be fair if I said that there's a lot of people, what's going around everywhere is more a tools-driven thinking than anything else. I mean, people don't see AI as it should be seen, understanding the basics, understanding how it works and the possibilities. And people are more thinking about the tools that are being widespread, and of course the marketing over the tools is incredible, and people start to think AI as a tool, as from the perspective of that tool, and not from the broader, wider perspective of what it can bring to the business in the long run. So there's no basic understanding, no long-term vision, and actually no purpose. People are using the tool because everybody's using the tool. Oh, it's fun. I can't be left behind. I have to, even the fear of missing out. I need to be doing what everybody else is doing, instead of, basically applying technology for technology's sake, and not for actual improvement, or changing the culture, changing the way we do things for the future. Would that be fair to say that?
Can I just jump in for a second? I have this fight all the time with my academic colleagues. They think that AI is, like you said, Sergio, is a tool that people will lose their capabilities by relying on the tool to solve the problem. But what we've got from the very beginning of AI, it shouldn't have been called artificial intelligence. It should have been labeled as augmented intelligence, because it's really sort of not artificial. So what we have to understand is the human is the center of everything in the design, and the tools are just augmenting what we already do, what we already have. So that's the approach, is that these are tools, but they're augmentation. It's like, a hammer. It doesn't swing itself and hit a nail. It needs the human part of the interaction. So I think that's kind of what we're sort of getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the leaders are so preoccupied on reducing costs and replacing people. And employees are so afraid to be replaced that people are in this, they don't think, most of them don't think in the future as a strategy. As I totally agree, is how to use to augmenting our mind, how we use to improve our efficiency. So we're living in a world more emotional. So I think we need to pay attention emotional part, because the leaders also impact the employees. So I can make a comment later on this, some studies that how this impact, but I see people seeing as a tool because it's in our hands. Until before 2022, it was a model inside the university. It was an open source model. Lots of open source model existed, but people are aware now because OpenAI created a product, Gemini created a product, Anthropic created a product. It's a product. They're marketing. There are the whole company pushing the product, and now we are aware. We know what happened, and we can use it. So people experiment, but there's a lot of things behind how we integrate with the legacy systems, with existing systems, how we select AI for the right process. So we need to have this critical thinking to stop a little bit and say, what is a hype? What is this afraid cost recover or reduce costing? But how can I stop and prepare myself to be ready for the future? Because the hype will go down, is going down already. And what remains if those who are prepared.
Mm-hmm. Something I just want to quickly add to that. What I'm also finding with a lot of companies, especially in the HR department, is the cost of hiring. We're talking about costs in a company. The cost of hiring a new employee, onboarding them, is so high that the idea is that you really want to make those decisions about hiring based on not just on their sort of skill set, but on their capability to adapt to an uncertain future. That is such a big thing right now. And it would save a company a lot of money if it could determine some of those factors that the fit was really good. So that's part of understanding it. Actually, AI can actually help with that, but it's one of the things we have to consider is the actual employees and the organization and the group dynamics of the organization.
Yeah, so this is a very fundamental aspect of a future-ready AI strategy, right? To have the right people that are capable of dealing with uncertainty and not get anxious about it, but simply live through it and use the technology as a way to help them pave the way to whatever is the future. Great. And I love the idea of changing AI from artificial intelligence to augmented intelligence. I love this perspective that it's the essence of superminds, right? It's, and there is a famous Brazilian neuroscientist that says AI should not be called AI because it's not artificial and it's not intelligence, because intelligence is a characteristic of the human brain. So there's no way you can replicate that. So and I guess that this is more or less aligned with that. Let's leave the intelligence part to the humans that will be part of the process. Very good. And Kelly, now once Alceli talked about experimentation, I would like to ask you something in that regard. There's a bunch of companies out there experimenting AI in very isolated use cases, but they're having a very hard time on scaling that and making sure that they can use AI in company-wide and not just in that particular box that they created the tests or the experiment. What would you say are the key elements for the leaders that they should consider when moving from an AI experimentation to a scalable and organizational wide strategy?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I tend to recommend to companies when they've got something working and they want to scale it is pilots. Like, send a pilot program out early, even if it's not quite ready yet. I gotta share a mistake I made. A big critical mistake on the early part of AI design was I planned to have it perfect when it was launched, because it had to be, because I went into a financial system. It had to be perfect. And it took a couple of years for that to happen. And so politically, I lost momentum because I wasn't having early wins. Like, so that I wanted simple pilots with early wins would have been a way better strategy than trying to perfect the AI system and send it out into the general population. I should have known better, that I should have had multiple pilots that I learned the intricacies. One of the most difficult things in AI design that's different than design thinking, because some of you may be familiar with design thinking, is that the AI is so unpredictable in some of the multiple outcomes that it can have. When we usually design something, we kind of know what the outcome is going to be, so we boldly go ahead with it. But AI has so many channels and so many things. We need to float out pilot programs early to find out what doesn't work, like I mentioned before. But that is a great strategy for people that are trying to bust it out to a larger organization to expand it. Have pilots to find out little critical problems before it becomes a major problem that you're trying to fix. But don't take 2 or 3 years to do this, because it's going to change so much, and you need that knowledge of what doesn't work early. So that's my recommendation, is to pilot small things out before the launch, get an early win to keep momentum within the company.
And if I can complement the Kelly's, I think, 10 years ago, I experienced when a company reshaped the way they did the design, and they, of course, start design thinking, the way we met the clients, we work with the clients to define the problem and find solutions and prioritize solutions. So I think it's really important to reshape the culture and to avoid this pressure on what the executives put on the employees, but it has to be top down. I remember that time 10 years ago, the CEO decided with the team, and they created champions, and those champions had the role to empower others, to teach others how to do, and so on. So they create a whole strategy to transform the culture of the company, to listen more to the clients, to address the problem first, then prioritize with the client and pilot. So MVP, we constantly talk about MVP. So I think this is really important. And I think should start with the CEOs. And there's a study, a psychological study that shows that employees' performance is not only affected by employees' own anxiety, but the anxiety of the leader. So if we see CEOs saying that we need to replace, they are they have their own anxiety and they pass their anxiety to the organization. So at the same time, at the same way we did a cultural transformation from top down, you also transform the culture with fear top down, with replacing. So starting from the leaders and the top leaders, senior leadership in large corps, because they have power to influence others. So if we start changing that, maybe we can work in a more like efficient way, more strategic way, long term, and change the world for better, not replacing. Because I don't see developers, for example, many people say they will replace. Yeah, some of them will be replaced, but maybe they should be replaced since the beginning because they were doing something that they never should do. But in the future, we can produce more if we work. Every developer will work with five other AIs, and how the manager of this a team with 10, 20 developers will manage each one with their own AI. It's a new way of working DevOps. It's a totally different. So we are in the middle of the transformation, and I agree with Kelly when he says a pilot and iterate and learn with the mistakes. And the mistakes shouldn't be not, oh, okay, because I have a mistake and I don't have an ROI right now, I will give up. No, this is not my idea. I think we should evolve. And since 1950 exists, it doesn't born 2 years ago. So we should evolve and should have more and to have more space. Ethical, okay, we have to discuss the ethical part, but the technology itself should be work with the business, like together. So this.
Yeah, and I love when you guys talk about simple pilots to deliver early gains, because first we tend to learn a lot more from mistakes than from following recipes, right? And this is the fundamental concept of agile development, that you try fast, so you fail fast and you fix fast, and then and you don't waste 2 years working on something that will not work at the end, and then you can't have to start over. But not to mention the fact that the speed of development of new technologies is so ridiculously fast that if you spend 2 years developing something, when you finish, it's already outdated. So you have to deliver those early gains so that you can keep the flow of investments. The CFO wants to see where the money is going, so you can deliver something. It reduces the anxiety of the finance guys and the other leaders. And also you can adjust the route as you go, instead of taking the wrong way all the way 2 years and then have to give up the initiative because it doesn't support what the business wants to do 2 years after you started. So great perspective. So thank you very much. Auxili, I guess we still have room for one more question. I guess because of the time here, we must be brief, but and I'm not helping because I keep adding comments, but I can't, I can't help myself. It's, I love the subject. I will ask this question, and the question is, sorry, when we're designing an AI strategy for the supply chain, because this is important for this particular group that we're hosting, and if we just, it's not just about adopting new tools. It's about aligning technology with business objectives, business priorities, and of course, long-term goals. If a company is just beginning to design an AI strategy for its supply chain particularly, what are the first steps, and what blind spots should they be aware of as early as possible, so that they don't fall in a trap and don't waste resources, or they get to a dead end with the project?
Yeah, it's a good question. Uh, for supply chain is complex. It's very complex by nature because it deals with a lot of data, structured data and unstructured data, multiple stakeholders and vendors and processes. Uh, those who work on supply chain knows exactly what we say about process. You have to follow that process. So AI is coming to work alongside these professionals to help analyze the complexity of this topic. So how we predict as supply chain generates large amount of data, how we can predict what the demand will be, forecasting. But in order to do that, this professional should understand the foundations of AI because we have the RPA systems, we have the legacy systems, we have all the systems, and when we don't understand what is LLM, the new definition of AI, now we people tend to define AI as open ChatGPT, Gemini, and so this is AI for the most users. AI for us is a field of complex. It's the whole umbrella, like machine learning, deep learning, and neural network, of course, but it's more than that. And how we keep with the existing systems on procurement and supply chain, how we add new innovation and innovative processes, how we transform the process. At the end of the day, it's not AI, a magic that will go and will solve all the problems. We have to understand the process. What should we improve? It's about what Kelly was saying. What the problem is? The problem is lack of tool, or it's there's another change in the process that if I make, I will simplify. And so sometimes we have to see supply chain is rich because generates a lot of data and a lot of like stakeholders and processes. But for sure, we can automate tasks and we use our time better to do other things than like routine tasks that you have to write the same email with the same content. Why not give it to an AI, and AI will create easily, and we can read more, we can understand more what's the implications of my business. So I think we sometimes we simplify the business because we have the big techs guiding the world to adopt AI. And sometimes we forget that business is more than this. So this is my point of view.
Kelly, what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I agree. We're at an interesting point now where we've actually got AI systems now that are starting to manage other AI systems. So we're trying to make them all somewhat compatible in a way, because you're right, Elsley. It's a very supply chain is very complex and very timely. It happens in real time. But what we're finding is that we almost need the speed of multiple AIs working with each other in order to calculate that. So you've got to start small. You've got to build a single one. You've got to build a family of them. You've got to build them so that they integrate with each other. But that's where we're headed, is multiple AI systems that actually communicate with each other in real time. So that's kind of where we're headed. So it'll alleviate some of the delays in the supply chain when we have it's kind of like how the stock market changed from the old way of people on the floor screaming at each other to transactions happening in a millisecond. We're getting to that stage where the only possible map you could have is, with human guidance, of course, AI systems talking to AI systems to get the speed up. But we need to have a really basic understanding of how AI works and integrates into our worlds, supply chain being one of them, or other fields. That base knowledge must be there. And I think that's what we're going to help set up when we come to Canada.
Yeah, I can add a comment. I totally agree with Kelly and about the number of AI. We have 1,000 models. We have a large language model, but we have also small language models. So in the future, I believe a company that has a good infrastructure or work with a good infrastructure designed specific for AI, not infrastructure in a cloud that will work to run the model specifically. You can use a pre-trained model as ChatGPT, Gemini, but you can also develop small language models, or you can use the open source and you can start running your own model using a cloud. So there's multiple options. We need to explore more. And in order to do that, the technical team, the IT team, and the business team should work together, because the IT team that with deep knowledge on AI, and they can support the decision makers on how to do that. And those who are accept, take risks, accept, and those see, and the large corporations, they see, unfortunately, next quarter, financial statements for next quarter. So they will not check, and if they don't see the long term, maybe I think other companies will rise with new solutions. So, and I'll just make a comment because I think it's important, this part of the strategy. Many people get afraid of layoffs. And when we count the percentage of the employees there in the layoffs, it doesn't change so much year by year. And if you compare the same companies, some has more, some has less, like 5%, 3%, 10%. And the public companies, they announce this. So we have to question if it's AI, or I'm cutting costs, or I am making the layoffs to hire new skills. And that's what the people here in this call should pay attention. What kind of new skills should I learn in order to do ready for those companies? Because I suspect they are changing, they are shifting the skills, and not only, okay, layoffs. Otherwise, how they will innovate and create new services, how they will survive. So it's critical thinking and scientific thinking to question and see numbers, and not believe in the first analysis that person we read on the social media, especially.
Wow, great. One of the things that you said, Oceli, that called my attention is when you talked about process. You have to understand the process. And in my mind, and now I'm asking you if it's fair to say that, in my mind, if you apply technology, particularly AI, over the same processes, the only gain you have is the short-term cost reduction through people replacement. But in my mind, what you have to do is to understand the process and understand what should be the process. What is the to-be process that will enable AI to deliver more than just short-term gains by replacing people? Or how can we use AI to do more with the same? Instead of firing people, maybe, as you said, fire people to hire new people that have different skills. I can understand, but why can't we do more with what we have? If we simply use the same processes, new technology can only make you do the same thing with less costs, which is good, but your competitors are probably doing more every day, and then you're going to be lagging, you're going to be left behind, and you're going to exit the market at some point. Does it make sense, or is this a crazy idea?
No, I think it makes sense. And if we put on top that, how many providers we have with pre-trained models? Few. Is a company is comfortable to rely on a few pre-trained models with data privacy, or should we develop your own skills inside and to work with your processes and to reshape your processes instead of creating like a big, larger models? I understand the value they bring, but also let's think how we could work with multiple solutions and prepare your team to redesign the strategy and not rely on only 3 or 4 big corporations. So that's the discussion by now. I don't know, Kelly, but we probably have some thoughts about that.
Really quick. Yeah. I also, I agree with you. And also I want people to understand that it's not like you work for a year, build an AI strategy, and then that's the end of it. It is a continual iterative, like we continue to build process. It has to become part of the company where you are constantly revising, adjusting, working with it, adapting new technologies. So you need to shift the focus that this is a lifelong sort of idea. In order to make the company future proof, you have to become future proof yourself. You have to constantly be learning and adapting along the way. So you got to build that into the culture of the company. If you don't, it's definitely got a shelf life for that company. That's done.
Good. I can see from here if we have any questions. We're kind of running out of time here. I don't know. Do you guys see any questions that we might have that we could address, or maybe address later directly to the people who asked?
Yeah, while they look for the questions, I think we should pay attention. I think the message here is, in my opinion, we should use AI. We should spread the use of AI. We should empower the team to use, because we'll be more efficient. We'll take more time to do what we need. We never, when we read thousands of emails and we have to reply to all of them, we don't stop to read something to create the critical thinking that we need in our daily job. So if we empower, and HR, we mentioned HR. So I was surprised, and I was discussing this with some friends from HR side. It was surprised to me that HR was the first like department the CEO say we will transform starting from HR, because HR is very important, super important to change the culture of the company and to be part of this. Recruiting is one side, and if we learn AI like LLM to make the questions, LLM will predict the next word, it will work with it, is a probabilistics, how we are delegating to the systems. So we will lose, the companies will lose talents, I think. So when you see the big techs, when they hire, they use AI to the first screening, but they use humans on more deep interviews and to understand if the person has knowledge enough. So I think we should pay attention to HR and not use, or HR should rethink what their role is, not a process, but is human driven. Should help the humans with an anxiety, well-being, and they do, of course they do. Sometimes I've seen companies that see HR as a process oriented, just for recruiting, and so we have to avoid this role of AI and think more strategically. AI should be with the era of AI, HR should be working with the CEO directly to reshape the skills, the company, and with other, of course, other departments with the strategy. But this is one important point, HR.
Okay, very good. So now we are we to the end of our time slots here, but I would like to offer the following. For those of you who already had the chance to learn about our journey, you can say goodbye now if you want, because from now on, I'm going to share 4 slides quickly outlining what will be the journey itself, very briefly, but just to give you an idea. For those who don't know what the journey is all about, I will share that and I just want to not all the presentation. It's a 1 hour presentation. I'll go straight to the journey itself. Yeah. Good. So thank you very much. So what is the journey? At the end, talking to leaders, some more about the support in Canada, and particularly the application of technology in supply chain to Toronto on this journey. So the first activity for those who join us will be this kickoff and launch dinner. It will happen on September the 11th. The idea is for you guys to know each other. So we'll start the networking there, and we'll share a little bit about Canada, about its cultural diversity, its economy, trade, natural resources, and opportunities for innovation and technology. So that interface will, start the group dynamics there. Then on September 26th, I will be in Brazil for this dinner, and then I will fly with you things that to allow you to refresh your brain and relax so that you can be ready for next day content. So it's going to be a very heavy content that you're going to receive. So a lot of new ideas. So we need you to get some rest. So we will be on Saturday. Will be a free day. We'll have an activity, a sightseeing activity at CN Tower. And in the evening, we'll have our welcome dinner where everybody is required to be there again to engage on this networking. On Sunday, we start the actual content. So we go to the Toronto Business College, where Alceli is a leader there, is the leader of strategy at that Toronto Business College. We will be talking, we will have some activities or dynamics that will help you guys to understand how this will work and how you can learn better and how can you take most advantage of what you're having access to. We're going to be talking also about supply chain in Canada. We're going to be talking about the scenario in Canada, right? Then on Monday, we're going to be talking about facts and fiction. So we will be talking about the origin of AI and how it developed, so that we can understand the complexity and how we can take advantage of AI. We're going to be talking about data and strategy. We'll have some hands-on work. I guess on Monday, on Sunday, we'll also have discussions about ethics and cybersecurity. On Tuesday, we're going to be spending time in, we're trying to organize meetings at two big techs so that you can, learn what are they doing and how they see things going forward. Then on Wednesday, next slide, please. On Wednesday, we're going to go to Mars, which is a innovation center in Toronto. There I'm gonna do my part talking about customer experience and how we can use, how we can connect customer experience with supplier experience and how we can integrate the supply, actually all the chains, right? So the customer chains and the supply chains, and we'll also talk about supplier experience. In the afternoon, we're going to visit the Innovation Center and learn about the new things they're doing with technology there. On Thursday, we're going to have technical visits in Brampton. This visit will be defined after we know who are the people present on this journey, because we want to find something that will make sense for most of the people. And in the afternoon, we're going to go to Beehive, a place where you have a lot of technology being developed. We're going to have the founder talking about technology. It's going to be a very nice opportunity. And we will also have the opportunity to go shopping, to relax a little bit, and bring the gifts to the people who allowed us to come to Canada. On Friday, we're going to start closing this this journey, and the idea, we're going to go to global startups, and the idea is to talk to two people there, two ladies that are amazing people that will help us to understand first how to create a project, make your your AI initiatives as an internal project, as an internal or entrepreneurship. So how to create the project and develop this project, and how to get funding from your company to develop those projects. So they are experts on that. And then on Saturday, we will have the opportunity to go to Niagara Falls, and after that to go straight to the airport to take our flight back to Brazil. But then after we arrive in Brazil, about a month later, in November 20th, we will be joined again. We'll be together again at INSPIR, because then we will, on Friday, we'll help you to start drafting your action plan, how we're going to implement or develop the solutions on your business. And then when we're together at INSPIR, we will share what we've learned over this month. So when you got back home with all those ideas, how did it go? Some people will share their frustrations because they were not able to engage the rest of the company. Some people will share their successes, and the idea is that we learn from each other and help each other so that we can actually bring a return on the investment that you guys made on this journey. So everything you've learned becomes an action and something that will bring a result to your business. So this is basically what I wanted to share. Again, thank you for your time. It was great, Alceli and Kelly. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I love when you talk because I learn a lot, and you know, my brain is always, you know, I get crazy every time I talk to you. I have so many ideas. So thank you very much for allowing me to be an eternal student while I'm around you. So I will definitely see you during the journey, but I hope I can see you before. Everyone else, that those who want to know more about the journey, there is a QR code. I guess you guys can put that on the screen. You can scan the QR code. You can schedule a meeting where we're going to share more details about the journey, and then you can show your interest, and we can help you to register and be part of this amazing group. So thank you very much. That's it for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.